Racism as a theme and its use in narrative film can help people understand the danger racism imposes on society, offer insight on the root of prejudice in diverse situations, and sometimes offer hope for better future race relations. Watching from a critical viewpoint, Norman Jewison's In the Heat of the Night, released in 1967, and Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, released in 1989, offers diverse perspectives on racism and its impact on film and society. In the Heat of the Night has Virgil Tibbs, played by Sidney Poitier, and Sheriff Gillespie, played by Ross Steiger, forced to work together on a murder case. Neither man wants to work with the other because of their own prejudice. Virgil is trapped by his ambition to prove to the ignorant white bigots of Mississippi town his value as a person and a police officer. The sheriff is trapped by his obligation to the mayor, the town, and the wife of the murdered man to keep Virgil on the case for use of his expertise in homicide. In an interesting plot twist, we find out at the end of the film that the man's murder was rooted in racism, as many of the people in the community didn't want his investment toward a factory that would offer jobs to African Americans. Virgil exhibits disdain towards the prejudicial treatment he's given by many of the characters in the film, but also maintains a subtle underlying prejudice of his own in his quest to prove himself. Virgil doesn't let these emotions interfere with his dedication to solve the crime or to display empathic behavior, such as his consoling the investor's wife in revealing her husband's murder. More notably, Virgil is the only character in the story that maintains civility and displays intelligence consistently. In reference to mise-en-scène, Virgil is the only character in the film wearing formal attire, used to symbolize his educated approach and stature as a homicide expert. The sheriff begins as an ignorant bigot, much like the rest of the men on his squad, treating Virgil more as a burden rather than an asset. Slowly, he becomes protective of Virgil, as Virgil's experience with homicide cases becomes a vital element to solving the crime. The sheriff actually gains respect for Virgil as the plot unfolds, and by the end of the film, the sheriff seems to have grown past his prejudices. The name Virgil has relative significance in the film, although I'm not sure if it was director Norman Jewison's intention. I took a class here at Nassau called Introduction to Western Civilization, and in that class I learned of a story written by Dante Alighieri called Divine Comedy. In Divine Comedy, the character Virgil is Dante's guide through the inferno of hell. And I related Virgil Tibbs in the Heat of the Night as the guide through the hellish circumstances and mystery of the film. The police in the film view and treat African Americans as inferior to white people in intelligence and display human cruelty towards them. The police are part of a closely linked community where everybody knows each other's business, and the prejudices of the community and police seem to be rooted in fear. The townspeople have a fear of loss of power, which causes an unwarranted hatred, and many of the secondary characters seem most concerned with the factory being built. The fear begins with the reality of African American men and women getting jobs at the new factory and encouraging more African American families to move to this small Mississippi town. Thus, the fear of white supremacy loss led to murder. When Virgil Tibbs and the sheriff part ways at the end of the film, through few words from the sheriff and an earnest smile from Virgil, there seems to be an indication that both characters have evolved past their prior behaviors and prejudices, and the characters reached a mutual respect. I believe it was director Norman Jewison's intention to give the audience an indication that better race relations were possible and people can change for the better. In the Heat of the Night is appropriately titled in regard to the scope of the film. The crime and unraveling of the mystery occur over a 3-day period in the intense Mississippi heat. with soft Southern songs incorporated to further establish the setting of a small Mississippi town. Southern and Midwestern states, most of which were racist to an inhuman degree in the late 1960s at the height of the civil rights battles, ignored the changes in civil rights for African Americans. The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution was first intended to secure rights for former slaves. It includes due process and equal protection clauses, among others. The amendment was used in the mid-1960s in an attempt to dismantle legal segregation. While the 14th Amendment secured equal rights for all citizens on paper, the film's characters' display of inhuman treatment toward African Americans indicates such behavior was still common in the United States at the time. In the Heat of the Night obviously made an impact on